Hey, it's Lily back again with another video. Today's video is going to be about chatting why people are easily triggered or sensitive. I wanted to talk about the subject for some time because I don't know about you, but if you notice a lot of people or just anything that we really can't talk about a lot of subjects these days, and with a fear of someone getting hurt. But I wanted to talk about this notion, reality, why we're kind of always walking on eggshells. These are really all based on what I've, observed lately, and lately have come to conclusion why people have been easily triggered and sensitive. Hence, if you're easily triggered or sensitive, it might not be the best video for you. And FYI, I always like to make videos about that are honest and truthful on my perspective. So if you like this kind of video, don't forget to give me a like or a share, and we'll get to the video and why things have just been quite strange lately. All really begins because this society doesn't have a lot of interactions with people, and no brainer, right? We are kind of in a space where we are constantly offended by anything and everything, and 24 hours, there's always someone willing to say something that's offensive, not in person, but also online. So 24-hour cycle that people can be offended. And I think that this generation had actually never had to really build skills to talk to people in real life that don't essentially agree with them or don't essentially have the same perspective as them. And that causes a lot of young people to constantly be offended by people who don't share the same perspective as them, right? And I don't know, I'm so shocked all the time that people can't understand that there's people who have different perspectives than them, and that people live different lives and backgrounds. For example, even this can of it's green tea here. This can of green tea, the way that I look at it and how you look at it is not the same. I know it's mind-blowing. A lot of people just say this is a can of green tea. But some people will look at this or even label this differently. Like, to be honest, there's some things, even though we have products and brands that are banned in other countries because they think they're bad. And, well, even bad and good is a subject that we can conversate. And everyone in different areas and backgrounds have their perspectives and scales of what bad and good is. And just because there is different perspectives and biases and just kind of different lifestyle to other people doesn't mean they're a threat for you. I've also seen people lately not have really truly beliefs or values. They're more just use beliefs and values to validate their ego or their self-esteem. It's really never really rooted anymore based on experiences or things or principles that they hold true to themselves. It's just a way or a mechanism so they don't have to feel a level of insecurity or a level of rejection. And I think that's really strange lately. We actually teach people to follow what they feel, regardless of the situation, or logically not think or reasoning with it. And I think that is what's being sold in, our universities, our schools, on social media, pretty much on practices for a lot of people. And I think that people are constantly being taught and share that to younger generations, so they feel as if they need to react. So anything that you feel is correct. And I do have to remind people that just because you feel something doesn't mean it's always correct. And there's actually a difference between actually really feeling it and actually what is actually happening, which is true. And this also begins a little bit with perception of life. But going back to the emotion part is that just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean it's actually means that you need to take action or it's true. Here's also the thing that your thoughts are actually not who you are, and your feelings aren't always true. So people actually don't know that. Sometimes the way that we process things isn't even being processed. Like, there's no step. There's just feel and do or think, and it is reality, then logically, critically putting those together. And most people like to react on anything, even subject matters that they don't even have experience in it. And in reality, that's just funny and weird. Don't you ever think? sometimes there's days that I feel, like everything's falling apart, like the world's falling apart. But is it really? No, the world's pretty much steady doing the same thing every day as it should do, right? And I just don't feel good that day. But sometimes I don't, if I was a bad person and I felt really bad about myself, which some people do, they will actually look for someone else to pay and validate for their sufferings, which in reality, the only suffering that you are making is all up in your head. So, and it's rude to of course, it's rude to other people to pay for your sufferings, right? But people like to do that because instead of them actually taking responsibility of how they feel and logically processing it if it's true or not, they rather go find someone else to take that responsibility. So it's easier for them and to escape that uncomfortable feeling or that uncomfortable responsibility of themselves. So another part is that people always want to be on extreme sides, and extreme sides from like having a bad guy to a good guy or being on polar opposite beliefs. People want two extreme sides, like a good and a bad, black and white, because it helps them at least simply objectify their reality. Like for them, it's easier rather than thinking in between the gray or having no sides in perspective. So people always like to elaborate a lot of things to places that are unreasonable. And that's why people have a tendency to go both extremes, because they need to find an extreme or a reason for what's happening. Another reason why people are offended or like to choose to be offended is because people in general like to create groups or communities that they feel a part of. So this is called tribalism. And so, for example, that's why extreme parties exist, or beliefs or places that people go into these days, like labels or any kind of form of way they feel like a belonging. The reason why is that if they join these groups of people is that they feel more safe, and somehow they also get to feel validated at the same time. So human beings and for existence have always lived in tribes, even if we're not like the cave age. And there's another funny thing I noticed too for young people who are like in college or going to school, that universities are slowly encouraging young individuals to be part of a political movement. For example, you see a lot of young people going on strike for things they don't even know what's it about. They're just their friends are there just so they can be part of a group. There's even people who are offended of, events that their generation never had experience, but thousand generations has passed before, and that has been completed. So I think that these universities, instead of finding differences between our subgroup, we need to find unity between our connections with ourselves. So I think that would be one good solution, rather than constantly having to highlight the things that make us different. We all kind of already know that we're all different, but reality, that doesn't really unite us. It just makes us feel more subjugated, alienated, or have the need to constantly keep that up. Another thing that I watched on YouTube, or the things I see in people, is that there's communities, people who are protecting people from not getting offended. And I think that's really funny, because the only way for people to not be offended is to get more exposure for those things that offend them. And to be honest, that the more our society continues to coddle our younger generation of not exposing them or having safe places for them, the less likely they're going to be built to sustain in the world where it's not safe. Like, to be honest, the world is not safe. It's, people are offensive, and we don't teach young people that how to cope with that or how to grow from that. And I think that we make them weaker, and that's why they're so deceptive and vulnerable to anything. I was actually even getting to a place where we can't even criticize people that should be and for safety reality, sometimes the people who create those safe community environments are actually people who have vetted interests. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and my opinions. Of course, all these thoughts and opinions are my perspective. I hope you were able to think of some of your own as well. Comment below if you have any other factors or reasons why you think people are more sensitive or easily triggered today. I'd love to hear what you think. And until next time, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.